Oh yeah, is it Thursday already? Ahsoka Season 2 is finally filming? And does this mean we will get this second season a lot sooner than we last anticipated? Also, the insane plot leaks, let's call them, that have come out from this Ahsoka Season 2 before it even began filming are absolutely insane. Talking about Abeloth, talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars armor, with Hayden Christensen back as Anakin in the Clone Wars armor, Ariana Greenblatt back as young Ahsoka. Could we be getting the Mortis arc? We got a lot to get into, and of course, Andor Season 2 is in 26 days, I think, right about now. And Star Wars Celebration is 22 days away, so we got a lot of crazy Star Wars stuff coming in just a short couple weeks. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday afternoon? Okay, so Ahsoka Season 2, as many of you know, is my most anticipated Star Wars project today. Like, by far, it's at the top of the list. Like, it's not even close. I'm very excited for Andor Season 2. Don't get me wrong. It is in 26 days, and I'm really getting hyped up, especially because that trailer that we got on Monday, which we'll talk about, because the Star Wars fandom has seemingly lost their goddamn minds again when it comes to Andor Season 2 and this trailer that we got on Monday. But Andor Season 2 is going to be awesome. I know that for a fact. After that, the only other live-action Star Wars project that we have is Ahsoka Season 2. And it's all the way up at the top of my list because Ahsoka Season 1, as you guys know, is my personal favorite single season of Star Wars content ever. And I can't wait to see what they do in the second season. And guess what? It may have just begun filming. So, before we get to any of this, let's say hi to everybody in the chat first, and we'll go from there. Okay. Hang on. Why is the chat over there? Put this chat over there. Okay. Genie for Tahini, what's up? Fearless, how we doing? Star Wars Order in the house. Brandon Baker, how we doing? Freddie, what is up? Matthew in the house. Chris, how we doing? John Groom, what is up? 50 Thunder in the house. WUV Grad, how we doing? Steve, what's up? Stanley, how we doing? Rachel in the house. Navarro, what is up? If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so Star Wars is just a gift that keeps on giving. It seems as though, since Skeleton Crew ended, we have not had any lulls for Star Wars news. We stream 3 times a week, chat, so it's kind of hard to find news sometimes for a live stream when we stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. However, since Skeleton Crew ended in mid-January, over 2 months ago now, we have never once had a live stream where I had to come on here and be like, guys, there's no news today. We can't even talk about anything because there's no news today. We've had trailers for Andor Season 2. We've had insane updates for Ahsoka Season 2, which we're going to talk about today. And we've talked about Star Wars movies, 11 of them that are currently in production. So yes, Star Wars Celebration is in 22 days, and we'll probably get a lot of those rumors and speculation confirmed at Star Wars Celebration with announcements and trailers and posters and all that fun stuff. But we have not had a single lull in Star Wars announcements, rumors, anything. And today is probably one of the biggest days of the year for Star Wars fans. Because yes, we had the Andor trailer on Monday, which we'll talk about, because there's a whole argument going around online about Darth Vader and Palpatine and whether or not they'll be in the show. We'll talk about it. But Ahsoka Season 2 seems to be the highlight of the day, because the new report is that it has begun filming. And this is a lot sooner than we expected. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. So let's dive into this. And first things first, before we actually do that, let's put up a poll in the chat. So if you haven't smashed a freaking like on the stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Get on that. But let's put up a poll about Ahsoka Season 2. Okay. Are you excited for Ahsoka? My God, I can't type. Ahsoka Season 2. Yes or no? So we do this all the time, the Are You Excited polls. And we just did this with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie the other day. And to my surprise, it was only about 60-40. 60% of you being excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Now, granted, we haven't seen a trailer for that movie yet. We haven't gotten any information about that movie yet, other than the leaks and rumors about Stinky the Hutt and Embo and all that crazy stuff. No real Grand Admiral Thrawn rumors yet, and nothing of any real substance, at least. So the hype level for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, it's not really as high as it should be. However, when it comes to Ahsoka Season 2, it is just that, a Season 2. The same reason that people are so excited for Andor Season 2, the same reason that the trailer that dropped on Monday was trending at #1 on YouTube. #1 is because it is a Season 2, and the excitement in the fandom is already there. Now, granted, you could say that The Mandalorian and Grogu is technically a sequel to The Mandalorian, but it is a movie, and Star Wars movies have sort of had, let's say, a shaky past over the last couple of years. So, with that being said, tell me in the chat, how excited are you on a scale from 1 to 10 for Ahsoka Season 2? Because we're going to talk about some crazy stuff today. Abeloth, Balin Skoll's recast, Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Ariana Greenblatt back as the characters of Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka, possibly getting some Clone Wars flashbacks in Ahsoka Season 2. Where does it end? Where does the hype end for Ahsoka Season 2? Because if you already forgot, Ahsoka Season 1 was insane, giving us the live-action variations of the Rebels characters for the first time ever, giving us giving us Anakin Skywalker versus Ahsoka in the world between worlds, giving us Clone Wars flashbacks, giving us Grand Admiral Thrawn, the heir to the Empire, in canon, in live action for the first time ever, giving us a brand new galaxy with Night Sisters and Mortis Gods. And now we're getting a follow-up to that. And as I see in the chat, we got a whole bunch of 10s, 10 pluses, 9.4s, 7.5, 50 out of 10, 7 out of 10. It seems to me, and I feel like it's not just a me thing, maybe it's an everybody thing, that Ahsoka Season 2 is at the top of the list. But tell me in the chat, of the upcoming Star Wars projects, and you can include Andor Season 2, even though it's the next one, what are you into? Is it Ahsoka Season 2? Is it the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Is it the Rey movie? Is it the Dawn of the Jedi movie? Is it any of the other 10 movies? Simon Kinberg's trilogy, Sean Levy's movie, Dave Filoni's Mando movie, Rogue Squadron's, Taika Waititi's movie, the Lando movie. What is the highest of the high for most anticipation for a Star Wars project coming up? Andor's #1. I'm guessing that's going to be a common occurrence here because it is in 26 days. That doesn't really shock me all that much. Yeah. I hear that Ahsoka Season 2 will have more of a live set rather than just a volume, and that will have a more serious Andor type tone and feeling. Well, Ahsoka Season 1 has that. Ahsoka literally dies in a way. Has Ahsoka Tano died 3 times in Star Wars? Has she actually died 3 times already? Because if you think about it, she dies to Vader on Malachor 5. She dies to Balin Skoll in Ahsoka Season 1. And she dies on Mortis. How many lives does this lady get? How many lives does she really get? That's crazy. Okay. But having said that, let's get to the news and why we think / sort of know that Ahsoka Season 2 has begun filming. So this all started on Tuesday, and we actually talked about this on Tuesday a little bit towards the end of the live stream, but it started with Iman Esfandi, the guy who plays Ezra Bridger in live action. By the way, talk about perfect casting. They've done an incredible job casting animated characters into live action. Ahsoka Tano, of course, being one of the biggest ones. Rosario Dawson is a fan favorite. But you have characters like Harrison Dula, Sabine, Ezra, these animated characters who are coming over to live action. Obviously, Bo-Katan, but that is Katie Sackhoff both ways. Same can be said about Grand Admiral Thrawn. But casting these characters is so important. And especially with Iman, especially with Ezra, they got it right. Okay, so this is where it all started, let's say. Ahsoka's Ezra actor may have quietly confirmed that Ahsoka Season 2 has begun filming. Now, this is not the news we're talking about today, because the new report is that it has begun filming. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and we are already ready to go. And that means it's possible that we could see a trailer at Star Wars Celebration, but this was a couple days ago. So, Lucasfilm may have quietly begun production on Ahsoka Season 2. While the company behind Star Wars hasn't officially announced that the new season of Ahsoka has started filming yet, series actor Iman Esfandi seemingly has with a new social media post. Esfandi, who is a live-action actor for Star Wars Rebels character Ezra Bridger, recently reshared a post on his Instagram story via X from his friend, artist Josh Hosh. Josh Hosh? Great name. For him popping a bottle of champagne with a caption that read, "Congrats, Iman Esfandi, for launching your podcast, Keepers of the Fire, and kicking off Ahsoka Season 2. Pretty wild. The indication that Iman Esfandi is kicking off Ahsoka Season 2 suggests that the production has either started on the show or is at least about to start in the upcoming weeks. And this was the post itself. Congrats, Iman Esfandi, on launching your podcast and kicking off Ahsoka Season 2. Iman Esfandi's Instagram story does line up with the previous reports from December of 2024 that stated that Ahsoka Season 2 was slated to begin filming in April of 2025. And we've talked about this before, so it makes sense that it would start filming fairly soon. However, it's not quite April yet. The new season will reportedly have multiple different use multiple different film techniques, as opposed to the first season, which shot entirely on volume stages, which combined physical and digital elements for an immersive and photorealistic environment. Ahsoka Season 2 is currently the only live-action Star Wars show in development at Lucasfilm, as it shifts its focus towards bringing the sci-fi franchise back to the big screen. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Because Andor Season 2 is already done, post-production is finished, they are ready to go for Andor Season 2. Ahsoka is, in fact, the only live-action Star Wars project left in development, at least that we're aware of. I don't see a world where they stop making live-action Star Wars Disney Plus shows. Now, yes, they are switching their focus back to the big screen, as this mentions here, but we're also going to get more animated projects as well. So, what I think is going on here is that we just don't have the announcement yet for what's coming next for live action. Now, there's rumors going around that there's like 3 or even 4 live action Star Wars shows ready to be announced at Star Wars Celebration, which would be insane. I mean, last Star Wars Celebration, we got Skeleton Crew. We already knew that Ahsoka was coming, but Ahsoka got a big update. The Mandalorian Season 3 may have just ended right then, possibly. The Acolyte was getting a big update there. So there was a bunch of live-action Star Wars shows being announced or already announced at Star Wars Celebration in 2023. Right now, there's really none. So do you guys think, and tell me in the chat, that they will shift away from live-action Star Wars shows, or they're just going to announce a whole new slate of them at Star Wars Celebration? We did talk about how Ahmed Best, who plays Jar Jar Binks and Kelleran Beck, posted on Instagram about how there's something really big coming at Star Wars Celebration, and he is announcing it. Actually, let me pull that up real quick. So tell me in the chat, do you think this is the end of live-action Star Wars shows for Disney Plus? What do we think? And while you do, yeah, check this out. So Ahmed Best posted this.
Ahmed Best here. I am going to be at Star Wars Celebration Japan, April 18th through the 20th of 2025. And I got some amazing Star Wars news to share. Oh my God. I can't even.
So this is like a 2-minute long video. We won't watch the whole thing, but he just goes on about how this is some insanely huge news that he is going to be announcing specifically. He is going to go out on stage and announce it himself. This led people to believe that this is a Keller and Beck show, or maybe a Tales of the Jedi featuring Keller and Beck. But a live-action Keller and Beck show about the hidden path in Star Wars with Grogu and other Jedi who survived Order 66 would be insane. And it would also be something that we never possibly imagined could happen, much like all the other live-action Star Wars content that has happened on Disney+. All of it. Every single piece. From The Mandalorian, which kicked it all off, to the Book of Boba Fett, to Kenobi, to Andor, to Ahsoka, to Skeleton Crew, to The Acolyte, every single Star Wars show, not a single person asked for. Maybe you could argue Kenobi, but even still, Kenobi, we know, stays in the desert. Well, I guess he doesn't anymore, but he stayed on the desert on Tatooine in between the two trilogies. So nobody asked for any of these live action projects. However, you're not going to deny that they're great and a great add to the Star Wars story. So the question becomes, what do we not know that we want? What do we know that we don't know that we're going to want, but we don't know we want it, that they're going to announce, but we don't know they're going to announce it, and it's going to be awesome? That's sort of where we're at right now. That's where the announcements are coming from Star Wars Celebration. We have no idea what the next live-action show for Star Wars could look like. Could it be a season 2 of Skeleton Crew or The Acolyte or Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi? Maybe. But it's more likely to be a new show, a Keller and Beck show, or who knows? I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. With that being said, though, Ahsoka Season 2 is the last Star Wars live-action show, in theory, right now. That's been announced. Yes. Oh, hang on. We got a gifted membership. Jessica with a very generous gifted membership. Wow, I appreciate that. Goes to John. John, welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars, John. I appreciate that, Jessica. I really, really do. Membership super chats keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate it. All right, well, let's get back to this news. So, Ahsoka Season 2 is the only live-action Star Wars show in development. That's it. Until Star Wars Celebration announces more live-action projects, but who knows what the hell those are going to look like. So what is Ahsoka about? Great question. The first season of Ahsoka was released on Disney Plus between August and October of 2023. Picking up with Rosario Dawson's titular former Jedi Padawan after her guest appearances in The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. Season 1 was a well-received story followed by the beloved Star Wars character as she investigates an emerging threat in the galaxy following the fall of the Empire. The second season was ordered in January of 2024. While unconfirmed, the main cast of Ahsoka is expected to return for the second season. Ahsoka Season 1 was notable for featuring the live-action debuts of several Star Wars Rebels characters, including Sabine Wren, who's played by Natasha Liu Bordizzo, Hera Syndulla, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Grand Admiral Thrawn, played by Lars Mikkelsen, who also voiced the character in animation. The series also added new characters to the galaxy far, far away, such as Ray Stevenson's Baylan Skoll, a former Jedi who instantly became a fan-favorite character. With Stevenson passing away in 2023, the role will reportedly be taken over by Rory McCann, which is pretty enormous news for Star Wars fans, who was a close friend to the late actor, which is even cool as well. Star Wars Santa, what's up? Ahsoka also brought back multiple Star Wars prequel trilogy characters, with the most notable being Hayden Christensen, as his highly anticipated return as Clone Wars era Anakin in the armor that everybody loves. Ahsoka Season 2 will reportedly continue to bring back prequel characters, with Natalie Portman rumored to appear as Padme Amidala, the wife of Anakin and mother of Luke and Leia. Now, this was a big rumor when it happened at the time, but it was almost immediately shot down, I guess. Not shot down by Disney or Lucasfilm themselves, but still shot down nonetheless. The first season of Ahsoka streaming on Disney Plus. Okay. And this is pretty big too. Premiere window for Ahsoka Season 2 has not yet been announced, but we'll talk about a release window soon. Okay. So this is all sort of knowledge that we knew before. But this is speculation that Natalie Portman will return. We knew that Rory has been recast for Balin Skull. And yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of plot for Ahsoka Season 2, most of it is just speculation. However, the big news a couple days ago was that Iman Esfandi posted this on his Instagram story of his friend congratulating him on kicking off Ahsoka Season 2. Now, yesterday, or was it today? Hang on. Yesterday afternoon, instead of just hearing that it could be possible that Ahsoka Season 2 is filming, the reports came out that Ahsoka Season 2 has officially begun filming. It's coming from multiple different news sources. This was the big news of the day, that Ahsoka has begun filming. Now, why is this important? Well, like I mentioned earlier, Star Wars Celebration's in 22 days, and it's likely that Ahsoka Season 2 will now get a trailer. That's incredible. So much like this happened, 6-7 months ago, when D23 happened in August, we got a teaser trailer, not released publicly, but we've all seen it, of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Because they had just started filming a few weeks before, and they riled up enough footage, I guess, to create a teaser trailer with Zeb Orrelios and the Razor Crest and an AT-AT walker and a planet that looks like Hoth and mouse droids and Babu Frick looking Anzellans and Grogu and Din and it's all badass. So this news right here is more evidence to suggest, because there's a massive hour-long panel for Ahsoka happening on Saturday, April 19th at Star Wars Celebration. This is just more evidence to suggest that there will be an Ahsoka Season 2 teaser trailer at this panel at Star Wars Celebration. Now, granted, it won't probably be released publicly, which is a bummer, but as all things do, it will be leaked out. There's too many phones, too many recording devices that this trailer will be leaked out at some point. We'll definitely get our eyes on it, and we'll get our first glimpse at Ahsoka Season 2. Because, oh my God, could this second season be insane? From, yes, Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Ariana Greenblatt coming back, but introducing one of the most powerful characters of all time in Star Wars, Abeloth. Setting up the future of Star Wars canon post-sequel trilogy with a character as badass and evil as Abeloth. And doing something that we've never seen before in Star Wars. It actually could explain a lot. Explain where Ahsoka is during the sequel trilogy. Explain why Luke Skywalker and his Jedi Temple don't involve characters like Anakin as a Force ghost or Ahsoka helping train. It would explain all of it, while also setting up the next Mando film. So let's sit here for a second and talk about it. The rumors came out months ago that, and let's take a look at this, Ahsoka Season 2 will bring back Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And not just him, but even more. This was from January 14th, 2025. So again, months ago. While production for Ahsoka Season 2 is currently in its initial stages, the second installment has already received an exciting update, hinting at a return of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. While the series' plot garnered a positive response from the audience, Hayden Christensen's surprise cameo as Anakin Skywalker in the season 1 finale it was also in season 1, episode 5, quickly became the most talked about sequence. Current speculation seems to suggest that the sequel installment will contain similar moments of legacy Star Wars characters, particularly featuring Ewan McGregor's legendary Jedi Master of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, let's talk about it. As per known internet scooper, Christian Harloff, Ewan McGregor will be returning, making an appearance in Ahsoka Season 2. Aside from Ewan McGregor's return, he also made the claims regarding a comeback of several other heavy hitters in the Star Wars universe. Now, this is enormous. Not only will Ewan McGregor be returning to the iconic character of Obi-Wan, but we'll have some others. While shedding light on what fans can expect from the upcoming edition of Ahsoka, Harloff stated Hayden Christensen has a pretty big role in Season 2. Ariana Greenblatt will be returning as young Ahsoka, and I think the big news is that Ewan McGregor is going to be in it too. So let's just start with the beginning of that. Hayden Christensen has a pretty big role in Season 2. So in Ahsoka Season 1, not only do we see Anakin in the World Between Worlds fighting Ahsoka, getting these Clone Wars flashbacks of Hayden in the iconic Anakin Clone Wars outfit, but he also shows up at the very end of the series as a Force ghost. Now, that's extremely important because we've only ever seen Anakin's Force ghost one other time in Star Wars, and that was in 1983 at the end of Return of the Jedi. For the last 42 years, Anakin has been missing from the Star Wars timeline, at least post-original trilogy, after he dies. The Force ghost of Anakin vanished, and its first ever return was at the end of Ahsoka Season 1. That's big. Now, him having a bigger role in Season 2 makes a lot of sense, because clearly there's something going on with this new galaxy, with this new planet of Peridia, that allows Anakin to appear as a Force ghost, where he couldn't anywhere else. So there's something strange going on this world. Peridia's importance seems to be just thrown under the rug by Star Wars fans. The end of Ahsoka, the final 2 episodes specifically, really focus on the importance of this planet. Thrawn is trying to run away as fast as he can from whatever the hell is here, probably Abeloth. And Ahsoka says that they are supposed to be there. That's where they're destined to be. That's why she stays, pretty much. I mean, she could have worked a little bit harder to get off world, but she stays, and she's supposed to be there. What the hell does that mean? Well, that's what Season 2 is going to be about. Why Baylan Skoll standing on the top of Mortis Gods statues, looking out into the distance at a glimmering light on a mountain. Like, people don't talk about this enough. Ahsoka's ending, the first season's finale, is so important to what the future of Star Wars content is going to look like. If Abeloth truly is going to be introduced to the canon of Star Wars, that changes everything. However, there's always the likelihood that we are wrong. There's always the likelihood that Star Wars fans have lost their goddamn minds, as they always do, and that Abeloth will not even be in Ahsoka Season 2. However, I want to put up a poll. By the way, this poll, are you excited for Ahsoka Season 2? 86% of you said yes, and that's what I like to see. Okay. Do you think Abeloth will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Yes or no? Will they really do it? Introduce one of the most powerful characters to Star Wars canon? Tell me in the chat. Dark Sky says, I wish I could have loved Ahsoka, but they have they have 2 of my least favorite characters in Star Wars, Night Witches and Mortis Gods, LOL. Well, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah. Abeloth in Ahsoka Season 2? I hope so. Yeah. I think Disney doesn't have the ambition to put Abeloth in Season 2. Well, then what else is Baylan Skoll talking about? Again, these last 3 episodes of Ahsoka seem so overlooked because Episode 5 was so insane with Anakin in the World Between Worlds that the last 3 episodes, just people forget what happened. They forget that Baylan Skoll is sitting there talking to Shin Hati, telling her that what's on Peridia is going to stop the never-ending cycle of good versus evil. It's going to stop the shift in the galaxy from the Republic to the Empire, back to the New Republic, back to the First Order, back to the... Like, it goes over and over and over and over again. Good guys win, bad guys win, good guys... Baylan Skoll is putting an end to that with whatever the hell is on Peridia. There's only a few things in the Star Wars galaxy, in Legends or canon, that could ever put a stop to that could ever end the cycle, the never-ending cycle. And Abeloth would be one of them. Yeah. Star Wars Santa says, no, at least I hope not. That's a Pandora's box just waiting to be opened. I think it would be a hot mess. Oh, it absolutely would. There's no way that you can bring in Abeloth to the time period between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, meaning Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be a confined story to Peridea, because Abeloth cannot leave. So honestly, the entire story of Season 2 is going to be Sabine, Huge Wang, Shin Hati, Ahsoka Tano, Anakin, stopping Abeloth, stopping Balin and Abeloth from escaping Peridea, getting back to the main universe of Star Wars and stopping all of that. And honestly, it'll be Anakin and Ahsoka fulfilling their destiny. The Chosen One prophecy, which we talk about so much, is it real? Is it not? Is Anakin really the Chosen One? All this crazy stuff. It's made up by the Jedi, or at least so we think. Then we go to Mortis in the Clone Wars, and we learn that the Chosen One prophecy is for Anakin to take over the role of the father on Mortis. He's supposed to be the living embodiment of the light side and the dark side, the balance between. So after he dies, he pretty much takes that role. Also on Mortis, Ahsoka dies. In the living embodiment of the light side of the Force, the daughter gets put into her. So she pretty much becomes the living embodiment of the light side of the Force, which causes her to leave the Jedi Order, by the way, and causes her to be on Peridea. So now you have two Mortis gods, in theory, Anakin and Ahsoka, stopping Abeloth from leaving this place, fulfilling their destiny, fulfilling the destiny of the Chosen One and fulfilling the destiny of the light side of the Force. What do we think? That Star Wars Geek says, it would be cooler if the stuff would lead up to the First Order. We need a backstory at least. I agree, and I actually think they're doing a lot of things at the same time. Think about it this way. When you look at the Mandoverse, they're explaining so many things all at the same time. Not only are they telling an incredible story with characters like Din Djarin and Grogu and Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker and Grogu, did I say Grogu? And Grogu, Bo-Katan and Grogu, Sabine Wren, Grogu, Ahsoka Tano and Grogu. A lot of great characters. Did I miss any? Grogu, maybe? Holy fuck. I don't know what to do anymore, chat. Do we just end the stream? Do we just end the stream right now? Holy what? What? Jordan Rennie, welcome back. We missed you. I missed you. Jordan, you are insane, and I appreciate you so much. But Jordan Rennie with a very generous $250 hauler, the biggest super chat in channel history. Let me put my glasses back on so I can see. Hey, dudes and dudettes. Was away for holiday for my 30th birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Can we get some happy birthdays to Jordan in the chat, please? God, get him some happy birthdays in the chat. And he says, I say, bring on Abeloth. Okay, so first of all, Jordan, that's insanely generous. I cannot thank you enough. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. Biggest super chat in channel history. Thank you. Just full stop. Thank you. But I agree with you. I say bring on Abeloth. The only problem is, like everybody else is saying in the chat, you got to tell the story of what's happening at this point in the timeline. And I don't think Ahsoka's purpose is to do that. Like I mentioned before, you have characters like Grogu and Din Djarin and Grogu and you're telling those stories. You're also setting up the sequel trilogy. You're setting up Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple. You're setting up somehow Palpatine returned with the whole cloning stuff on Navarro and the Bad Batch and the whole cloning stuff. Project Necromancer being mentioned by the Shadow Council and all that stuff. You're also setting up the First Order, how they rise to power, how Snoke rises to power from pretty much nothing in this time period. I honestly think still Skeleton Crew, the whole at-atten of it all, the old Republic mint that's intact, that has billions upon billions of credits in all these vaults on at-atten. I still think that will go into the funding of the First Order at some point, whenever they take control of that planet. But I do think that they're doing a million different things at the same time in the Star Wars Mandoverse era. They're telling a great story at that time, while also setting up the Futures trilogy, which is the sequel trilogy, while also setting up Grand Admiral Thrawn as the heir to the Empire, while also setting up the First Order later down the line, while also setting up Abeloth for a future villain post-sequel trilogy, for a Simon Kinberg trilogy, or a Rey movie, or a Sean Levy movie. They're just setting it all up. There's a big old whiteboard in Dave Filoni's office that has lines connecting to all these different characters, and everybody's connected to everything, and everything is connected. And it's chaos, but it's a controlled chaos. It's like our live streams. It's chaos, but it's a controlled chaos. Yeah. So, with that being said, you still have, yes, the setup for the sequel trilogy. You still have incredible stories being told currently in timeline with the heir to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn, all that stuff with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That's still happening. What I think Ahsoka Season 2 is, it's almost removed from all of it. It's setting up the future. And I don't mean the future as in a couple years. I mean the future as in 30 years later, 40 years later, in a post-sequel world with a villain as badass and powerful as Abeloth. So as Jordan Rennie says, bring on Abeloth. And also 80% of you guys do say that you think that Abeloth will be in Season 2. And I agree with you, but yeah, I agree. Now, the Natalie Portman of it all. The reason... What's up, Natalie? Speaking of. Natalie Portman of it all. The rumor of Natalie Portman being in Season 2 of Ahsoka is mostly because, I think, she could... Abeloth, in Legends at least, has the ability to appear as a person, or any person, I guess, that she wants to. And if she's going to go before Anakin, who better to appear as than his late great wife, the late great Padme Amidala? It'd be pretty wild. It would also give you the opportunity to have Abeloth turn into anybody. If she's really trying to get into Anakin's head, turning into Natalie Portman's Padme Amidala would be great. How about Shmi Skywalker? How about Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi? Maybe even Qui-Gon Jinn. Why not just have Abeloth pretty much give us a recap of Anakin's life with all the important figures in his life? Maybe even Palpatine. Have her turn into Palpatine. Just give Anakin a crazy, just mind-bending craziness of seeing all these people that he knows and loves, and maybe even hates, like a Palpatine, and make him lose his mind. Like, that's how powerful Abeloth is. And if you're introducing that into canon, it might just open up, like Star Wars Santa said, Pandora's box. And maybe that's a bad thing, but maybe it's a great thing. Maybe it's a great thing. I don't know. You tell me in the chat. You tell me in the chat. Should Abeloth be in Season 2? Yes or no? And while you do, let's switch gears a little bit to the Clone Wars. Okay? Let's switch gears quite a bit. Oh, hang on. We got another super chat. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 holla. I know it's not 250, but let's not poo-poo this. This is very important. Not everybody has to send in $200. Chat. Super chats of any kind are still welcome. Okay, but I appreciate it. Darth Plagueis says, the real question is, will we see the Mortis God arc in live action? Also, will Thrawn be in Season 2? Much love. Okay, that's actually two great questions. So we're about to switch gears anyway to the Clone Wars. Ahsoka Season 1 does give us a bit of Clone Wars flashbacks. It's not really specific flashbacks to the Clone Wars, more like memories of Ahsoka's through the World Between Worlds. It's a little different. So I don't think that Ahsoka Season 2 will go back into the World Between Worlds. I think the World Between Worlds is something that's going to be used very, very sparingly throughout the canon of Star Wars. Like, we may never see the World Between Worlds again. I wouldn't be that surprised. However, I do still think we'll get a Clone Wars flashback, in the only way to do that without it just being random flashback here and there would be the Mortis arc, like Darth Plagueis says. This is almost set up perfectly, maybe not even on purpose, but it's set up perfectly with how the Mortis arc plays out. Because right now we're being introduced to the Mortis Gods in live action. Those gods, those statues that Baylan Skoll is standing on in Ahsoka Season 1 at the end of the season, are Mortis Gods. Now, most normie fans who don't watch the animated shows or only watch live action stuff, they have no idea who the Mortis Gods are. And honestly, they're a very, very difficult topic and difficult, I guess, concept to wrap your head around. That the Force itself, the light side, the dark side, and the balance between them are really just three entities that, by the way, are all dead now. Actually, is the sun dead? I feel like we have this conversation all the time. Did the sun die in the Clone Wars? I always forget. But these three entities are the living embodiment of the light side, the dark side, and the balance between them. That's a pretty crazy concept to just throw at somebody randomly. So in Ahsoka Season 2, they're going to have to explain that. And that's not an easy task. However, like I mentioned before, this was set up perfectly. Because although Ahsoka Tano herself has been to Mortis and has met these Mortis Gods, she doesn't remember it. When Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin go to Mortis, when they come back, their minds are wiped from all that happened there. They don't remember. Because Anakin has shown his whole future. He's shown that he turns into Vader. He's shown that he turns to the dark side. Even Obi-Wan talks to Qui-Gon Jinn. They forget all of it. All of it. Like it never happened. So, Ahsoka Season 2 now has the perfect opportunity to give Ahsoka her memories back, while also giving the fans, and the fans who've never seen the Mortis Gods before, the explanation for what the hell the Mortis Gods even are. So as Ahsoka is learning who they are, we're learning who they are as well at the same time. So an explanation for who the Mortis Gods are and who Abeloth is at the same time. It's the perfect setup for over 15 years that George Lucas and Dave Filoni probably did not intend at all. Obviously, they had to wipe their minds, but yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So the son didn't die. He just disappears. Okay. I get you. Brett says, Abeloth causes chaos can help explaining why the sequel trilogy happens in certain characters' behaviors in the sequel trilogy. Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it that way. I guess you could do that. Have Abeloth sort of explain why some characters act the way they do in the sequels. The biggest one would be Luke Skywalker. I mean, so many fans still to this day do not like how Luke Skywalker turned out in The Last Jedi. Don't really get it, I guess. Now, there's a huge 25-year gap in Luke Skywalker's story, which would explain how he ends up on Arc 2. And maybe it involves Abeloth somehow. I don't know. Maybe. Whatever happens, I think it's fair to say that we need some Chopper screen time. Chopper never leaves the screen on our channel. But yeah, I agree with you. Okay, but let's talk about that because Darth Plagueis brought it up in his super chat as well. Will Thrawn be in Ahsoka Season 2? Honestly, it sounds like a very simple yes. Duh. But I don't know if it is. I really don't. Because if Thrawn becomes the main villain of the main Star Wars galaxy, if he becomes the heir to the Empire like he's supposed to be, and he's the villain of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and Dave Filoni's Mando movie, then does he really need to be in Ahsoka Season 2? If what we were just talking about, where Ahsoka's going to spend the majority of her time, or the majority of the show, on Peridia, where she's trying to capture Abeloth or keep Abeloth prisoner there, then will we really get any of the real Star Wars galaxy. What do we think? Are characters not only like Thrawn, but just Harrison Dula? Actually, I guess we do have sort of somewhat of an answer to that because of this, what we just talked about. Iman Esfandi is going to be in season 2. And Ezra, well, he was back in the normal Star Wars galaxy. So somehow, some way, the story that's happening in the normal Star Wars galaxy with Ezra and Thrawn and Hera and the New Republic will still somehow be connected to what Ahsoka, Sabine, Hugh Wang, and all the others are doing on Peridia. I don't know how, but it will. Let's talk about release date too, because this is also very important. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out on May 22nd, 2026. If this Ahsoka show, which by the way is in about a year and 2 months, if this Ahsoka series starts filming now, well, that just means that we're going to get Ahsoka after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. After. So the events of the Mandalorian and Grogu, whatever happens with Thrawn or with the galaxy at all, that will have an effect on what happens in Ahsoka Season 2. So technically, we don't know what the Star Wars galaxy looks like during the time of Ahsoka because, well, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to affect that. But that does give us a sort of at least a time frame for a release date, and that would be summer of 2026, after May of 2026. So if I were a guessing man, I'd probably say August 2026. August was when Ahsoka Season 1 began, and it would give a good enough time period for the Mandalorian and Grogu to be in theaters for a couple months into the summer, and then August comes around and you got Ahsoka Season 2. Seems like it would work. I don't know. What do you guys think? When do you think Ahsoka Season 2 will come out? Oh my God, Jordan. Are you kidding me? Jordan Rennie with another $100 hauler. You are absolutely insane. And guys, don't forget, you don't have to send me $100 for a super chat. Anything is appreciated. But Jordan, you're insane. Jordan says, Dave set up the premise of the Mortis Gods so that Dave will have all the answers, so he will have absolutely no problem telling the story. I agree with you. In Dave Filoni, we trust. But the problem with that is it's so much to explain. The Mortis Gods arc is, I believe, 4 episodes in the Clone Wars, right? Somebody fact check me on that. I believe it's 4 episodes. So it takes 4 episodes of the Clone Wars to explain the Mortis Gods. And even still, it's a pretty hard thing to wrap your head around. The fact that Anakin Skywalker is created by these gods to take over the role of the father? What? The fact that everybody in the galaxy is really just being controlled by 3 entities that control the living embodiments of the Force. That's crazy. But, having said that, you don't have that kind of time. With Ahsoka Season 2, you got 8 episodes. That's it. Now, I get it. There's no time for filler stuff, and Ahsoka Season 1 didn't have any filler either, but you have to explain some of the biggest concepts in Star Wars. The Mortis Gods, Abeloth, all this crazy stuff in Ahsoka Season 2. And you have to explain it to not make it look stupid to fans who already understand it, like us, who understand the Mortis Gods. We know who the Mortis Gods are. Some of us have some prior knowledge of Abeloth. So you have to explain it in a way where it doesn't dumb it down for the Star Wars fans who know and love that stuff. And you also have to explain it well enough for the fans who don't know shit, who never even heard of the Mortis Gods. It's a very difficult line to balance on, but so far, so good. I mean, so far, they've done a very good job of that. Like, characters who don't know Thrawn get introduced to Thrawn and Ahsoka, and it makes sense. It's a great entrance for fans who know and love him, and it's a great entrance for fans who don't even know who he was. The same thing has to happen for the Mortis Gods, but the Mortis Gods are a way more difficult concept to understand. And that's the problem that Ahsoka Season 2 is going to have, that Dave Filoni is going to have while creating Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah. Absolutely. Filming takes about 4 to 6 months, and then post-production is at least the same. Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at the time period for Ahsoka Season 1, if Ahsoka Season 2 did that same thing for filming and post-production and all that, then Ahsoka Season 2 would release in like July of 2026. So August of 2026 would make a lot of sense too. Yeah. Sorry, Mike, I left your super chat money in Vegas last week. Well, at least it's going to a good cause. At least it's going to something good. Yeah. I just looked it up. The son dies because the father sacrifices himself, and Anakin can kill the son with his lightsaber. I really got to go back and rewatch this Mortis arc. Yeah. To do the Mortis arc in live action, it would need its own standalone television show, at least 3 or 4 parts of a miniseries, maybe. Maybe. I mean, think about it. Star Wars Celebration is in 22 days. It's possible that a live action show about the Mortis Gods could be announced. I doubt it, but it could be. It could be. They also do the thing before a Star Wars show comes out, like what you should watch or what you should know going in. They did it with Ahsoka Season 1. They were like, you should watch Rebels and the Clone Wars before you watch this show. You don't have to, but you should. You should. Much like with Andor Season 2. You probably should watch Andor Season 1 and Rogue One. I mean, you don't have to, but you probably should. Yeah. The lore of Lord of the Rings is very... the lore of Star Wars is very Lord of the Rings-esque. Yeah, I mean, kind of. A lot of these fantasy worlds have very similar things up in the lore space, you know? Jordan, you are insane. $50 holla from Jordan says, just to make up for my absence, here's another 50. Jordan, may I say, we missed you. No, I appreciate it though. What would be your dream announcement for Star Wars Celebration? Interesting. Huh. Let's open this one up to the chat. What would be your dream announcement at Star Wars Celebration? Like the one project you really, really want them to announce at Star Wars Celebration this year. Huh. Melissa, what's up? That's tough. I would love, I don't know if it's the top of my list, but a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. That's an easy one. And that would be animated. I would want that to be animated. Multi-season animated show. Live action, though. You could always say Old Republic. I mean, that's an easy one. But more realistic? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm gonna have to think about this actually. I bet we get some crazy Star Wars shows at Star Wars Celebration that we haven't even heard of yet. I think that's probably the best bet here. Like we don't even know what's coming. Yeah. A Tales of the Jar Jar. Okay. Star Wars Underworld. That'd be pretty wild. With all the news of the Underworld stuff coming out, the 50 scripts that are ready to go, some fans actually think that was sort of a test. Lucasfilm testing the waters to see if fans would actually want that. And then maybe, just maybe, they're going to announce it at Star Wars Celebration because the fans' reaction were, yes, please make that. Bring George Lucas back to help make it, or at least put his name on it. Star Wars Eclipse, that would be good too, but that's a video game. A Luke Skywalker show, yeah, that would be great. A live-action series on the path, okay, so Keller and Beck, that would be great. Live-action Lando must happen still. Well, Tom, it's still technically in development. Donald Glover and his brother are still technically writing the scripts, but I don't know if that will ever happen. Thrawn Kills, what's up? I want George Lucas to come back, and that's the announcement. Well, here's the weird thing. George Lucas was at 2017 Star Wars Celebration. Was it 2017? I think it was 2017 Star Wars Celebration because it was the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. Yeah, had to be. So this is after the whole Last Jedi debacle. This is after all that stuff. The divide in the Star Wars fandom was as great as ever, and still George Lucas came to Star Wars Celebration in 2017. So it's really not impossible for George Lucas to come to this year's Star Wars Celebration. I think it's very likely that he will be at 2027's Star Wars Celebration, because it will be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. But it's really not impossible to say that George Lucas won't be at Star Wars Celebration this year. It'll be the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, so maybe he comes for that. I don't know. An Old Republic trilogy, yeah, that's a no-brainer. An animated series post Return of the Jedi, but prior to The Mandalorian. Interesting. So like Luke, Leia, and Han right after the events of Andor. I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. A Darth Vader series would be great too. Another Tales season, that'd be good too. Chimere series, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. Yeah. It will never happen until Disney runs out of ideas, but a show based on Yoda's species, yeah, that'll never happen. Yoda's species is something that should never be revealed. Like, ever. Yeah. A Dengar show, that'd be great. Luke could be played by Sebastian Stan in Ahsoka Season 2. Yes, please. No to Mark, as he had his time. Oh, well, Mark Hamill's a lot older now. So when they de-age Luke Skywalker, it's technically Mark, but it's also not really Mark, you know? So some fans think recast. Some fans like the deepfake. I like the deepfake, but yeah. An animated series of The Hidden Path and Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple show, and maybe even a show about Kira in the Crimson Dawn. That would be cool. A What If series. I really don't like the What If series. You know, I feel like Star Wars needs to focus a lot on their canon projects, and I don't think it's really necessary to give us a What If series anytime soon, at least. Like, what ifs can be left for the fans. Like, so many great Star Wars content creators make so many great what ifs. And that's not just to sort of self-promote here, because I do what ifs, you know. But no, there's some great content online about what ifs. Star Wars, Lucasfilm needs to focus on the canon of it all. Yeah. Republic Commando would be great. How is The Mandalorian and Grogu a movie and not Ahsoka? What is the state of Star Wars? Well, The Mandalorian and Grogu is a movie because of the success of The Mandalorian. When you look at The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2 next to Ahsoka, it's not even close. So Disney saw that they would have a success with Din and Grogu going to the big screen, and they made that a movie. Yeah. Yeah. Darth Maul running the drug trailers? What? A Zori Bliss show? What's up, Lee? How we doing? Okay. A Clone Rebellion show would be great too. True. Battle of Jakku would be great. All right, but let's get back to the topic at hand, okay? Bix Colleen show. Let's get back to the topic at hand, shall we? Ahsoka Season 2. Since we were so rudely interrupted by Jordan's incredibly generous super chat. But now, let's talk about it. So, Ahsoka Season 2. Let's get back to the Clone Wars Mortis arc of it all. Do you think, and let's put this up in a poll, actually. So, by the way, 74% of you guys think that Abeloth will be in Season 2, which is crazy. Well, let's ask you guys this. Hayden Christensen, I think, is a no-brainer for Ahsoka Season 2. I don't think there's really anybody who thinks he's not going to be in it. However, he can be in it as a Force ghost in current day. The only real logical way for Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, to be in the show would be in a flashback to the Clone Wars. So, this poll will say, do you think Ewan McGregor will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Obviously, as Obi-Wan Kenobi. What do we think? Yes or no? What do we think? And if it is the Mortis arc, which is really the only arc that they could retell because Ahsoka doesn't remember it, then it would need to be a lot quicker. Like I mentioned before, it's 4 episodes in the Clone Wars. We don't have time for that, so it'd have to explain the Mortis arc, a lot quicker. Yeah, Mike, I put it in the Discord on how the son dies. Okay, let's look at this. Yes. In the Mortis arc, in the Clone Wars, the son dies after the father sacrifices himself to stop the son from leaving Mortis and potentially bringing darkness across the galaxy, allowing Anakin to kill the son with his lightsaber. Okay. So they do all die. The son dies to Anakin, the father dies to the son, and the daughter dies by being transferred into Ahsoka. There you have it. No, never mind. I was going to say, what if Anakin got the son transferred into him after he killed him? I don't know. It'd be pretty wild. Yeah. That'd be pretty wild. Okay. But getting back to this, let's go back to this article. So Hayden Christensen is going to have a pretty big role in season 2. That was obviously known. Ariana Greenblatt is going to return as young Ahsoka. That means it's going to be a Clone Wars flashback. There's no real other reason to have Ariana Greenblatt come back unless it was for a flashback. But I think the biggest news is that Ewan McGregor will be in it. If Harloff's speculations come to be true, fans could see Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi as a Force ghost in season 2, similar to how Hayden Christensen made his return in season 1. However, with Ariana Greenblatt also rumored to reprise her role as young Ahsoka in the second installment in the series, this could feature a lot more flashback scenes to the Clone Wars than we initially expected. This could mean that Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan might also have an extended role in Ahsoka season 2. Okay, they bring up a pretty good point here. What if we're not getting a flashback to the Clone Wars, or maybe we are, but what if we're also getting a Force ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Because much like with Anakin's Force ghost, which we haven't seen since 1983 in Return of the Jedi on the forest moon of Endor, the last time we saw Obi-Wan's Force ghost was in 1983 on the forest moon of Endor. So these two characters, their Force ghosts, haven't been seen since then. Now, this brings up the very, very important discussion, and that is, should Ewan McGregor be the Force ghost for Obi-Wan? Should it be Ewan McGregor? Now, this is where fans, I guess, bump heads a little bit. Alec Guinness is the original Obi-Wan. He's the Force ghost of Obi-Wan as well. However, Alex Guinness, of course, has sadly passed away since the creation of the original trilogy, and Ewan McGregor has taken the role of young Obi-Wan Kenobi all the way up until the original trilogy begins. So now if you're talking about a Force ghost of Obi-Wan in Ahsoka Season 2, should it look like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, or should it look like Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan? What do we think? What do we think? And while we do that, there's another super chat. $5 holla from Jordan Rennie. I appreciate that. Jordan says, while we wait on people's thoughts coming in, how about a $5 holla for impressions of the father, the son, and the daughter, please? I could do that. I could do that. So, tell me in the chat, who should play the Force ghost of Anakin? Should it be a digitally created version of Alec Guinness, or should it be Ewan McGregor? Tell me in the chat. And while you do, Mortis Gods. Let's try that. The Mortis Gods. Let's see. Let's see if I can't find a scene of the Mortis Gods. You know what I actually forgot about this before we get to this? The son is voiced by Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer is obviously the voice of Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, but this was before Darth Maul returns in the Clone Wars. So Sam Witwer is the voice of the son before he even knows that he's going to be the voice of Darth Maul, which is pretty wild.
Know what you must do.
Ooh, I like the father's voice.
You know what you must do.
You know what you must do.
How quaint. My own personal send-off.
I ask you one
last time.
last time. Do not leave, my son.
You have no power to keep me, old man.
You have no power to keep me, old man.
You must understand by now, this planet is not my destiny.
Pretty good. I appreciate it, Jordan. I really, really do. But yeah, the Mortis God, like explaining all that stuff in Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be so difficult. And I really have no idea how they're going to do it. But with that being said, who should be playing Force Ghost of Anakin? Tell me. Of Obi-Wan, sorry. Perhaps it's best to appear as the latest version of that Ahsoka saw him, so young Obi-Wan. That's actually a great point. Wouldn't it be the last version of Obi-Wan that Ahsoka saw? Much like Anakin is the last version of Anakin that Ahsoka saw. But that also doesn't really work because Luke Skywalker sees young Anakin at the end of Return of the Jedi. I feel like it has to be Alec Guinness because it wouldn't work. It'd pretty much make the original trilogy seem like its own entity. Now, obviously, I think they're bringing back Ewan McGregor to do Clone Wars flashbacks. That's the same reason that Ariana Greenblatt will be in the season. This right here means Clone Wars flashbacks. Ariana Greenblatt coming back means Clone Wars flashbacks. Ewan McGregor being in it doesn't make me think Force Ghost. Because if you're going to do a Force Ghost, it's got to be Alec Guinness. That's just what I think. That being said, no official word has come out regarding the cast of Ahsoka Season 2. The sophomore edition of the series is presently under development and it does not have an official release date as of yet, and it still does not as well. So, this was from 2 months ago, talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, Hayden Christensen, and Ariana Greenblatt coming back for Ahsoka Season 2. And now, it has begun filming. So, what I think is going to happen here, much like Ahsoka Season 1, much like all the other Disney Plus shows that have happened for Star Wars, over the next couple months, we'll get hints and leaks and photos of the set of Ahsoka Season 2, giving us some information about what's probably coming in Ahsoka Season 2, leaking out information about the plot and what characters will be on the set and all this crazy stuff. Lucasfilm, as I mentioned all the time, is really good at keeping secrets. So I think if they want to keep Ewan McGregor a secret, if they want to keep Ariana Greenblatt coming back as a secret, they will. However, I got a feeling if they want to hype up the second season of Ahsoka, marketing-wise, getting a lot of people to come watch it, then I feel like they might tease at the fact that at least Hayden Christensen will be in the season. Or maybe even Ewan as well. Yeah. Yeah. Rebel Sith says, a sneaky trailer for Ahsoka at Star Wars Celebration would be awesome. Feels intentional trying to gear up for starting to shoot early, maybe for Celebration. Makes sense. Why not when they're about to start? Why not when they're about to start it anyway? Yeah, exactly. Why not start a little bit earlier, if you can, so that you can actually get a trailer ready for Star Wars Celebration? I agree. Not for us old-timers. It wasn't young Anakin for me at the end of Return of the Jedi. That's true, but that did change. Now, if you watch it on Disney Plus, it is young Anakin at the end of Return of the Jedi. True. You didn't get any panel tickets for Star Wars Celebration? No. Yeah. How do you think the Mandalorian Grogu movie is going to connect to Ahsoka? Well, that brings up what Darth Plagueis said earlier in his super chat as well, and that is, will Grand Admiral Thrawn be in Ahsoka season 2? Well, if Harrison Dula, if Ezra Bridger, like Iman Esfandi, will be in season 2, then it's likely that it will be covering not only of the events of Peridia in Abeloth and the Mortis Gods, but also the events of what's taking place in the current galaxy. So I think whatever happens in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which hopefully will pertain to Grand Admiral Thrawn and his heir to the Empire and all this awesomeness, then I hope that that will affect the Ahsoka series. At least, here's how I think it's going to happen. I think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will end on a big cliffhanger of Grand Admiral Thrawn winning something, and the bad guys win, good guys lose. Set up the next movie, which is Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie. I think what Ahsoka is going to do is be the connecting piece, the bridge, if you will, between those two movies and set up Ahsoka's part or Ahsoka's side of the story. I don't think Ezra Bridger, I don't think Harrison Dula and Chopper will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. However, we do know that Zeb Orrelios will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So it's likely that the Mando movie will be the beginning, and Dave Filoni's movie will be bringing everybody together, bringing Hera and Ezra and Chopper and all the rest of the Ghost crew into the Mando story. In the Ahsoka's second season will do that. It will bring those characters into the story. So it'll pretty much just be the bridge between the two movies. And hopefully it's a Mando trilogy and we get a third epic final film like Avengers Endgame type level stuff. But only time will tell. Yeah. The connection will be the Shadow Council. One member of the Council is already a main villain of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Yes, but the Shadow Council is not in Ahsoka. You know? That's from the Mandalorian season 3. But Ezra is the bridger? Exactly. Ezra Bridger is pretty much just the bridge between the two movies. Quite literally. I knew his name meant something. Okay, so let's talk about Andor Season 2 a little bit here. We can come back to Ahsoka Season 2, but I want to switch gears a little bit to Andor Season 2. It is only 26 days away, and the trailer that dropped on Monday was so ridiculously good, and it has fans losing their goddamn minds yet again. Star Wars fandom, as per usual, is split on something else. Shocker. Insanity. The Star Wars fandom disagreeing on something? Oh my God. However, this is bad news, I guess, if you will, for Andor fans. Andor Season 1 was met with quite the divide from the Star Wars fandom. Some fans really loving it, not, like myself and like you guys. Andor Season 2 is very, very highly anticipated. But Andor Season 1 was met with bricks and screws, or and bore being the nickname for the show. And bore. Or these AK-47s, or these look like AK-47s, not blasters from Star Wars, or there's not enough aliens in this show. Any complaint that they could find, they found. As per usual, I mean, sometimes they're really stretching when it comes to complaining about shows. However, the question was, do you think that Andor Season 2 will have that same effect? Will the Star Wars fandom have that same reaction to Andor Season 2 that they did to Andor Season 1, calling it and bore, complaining about all these different very, very specific things that already exist in other places in Star Wars? And I thought at one point the answer would be no, but that's just me being stupid, because every Star Wars project other than Skeleton Crew was met with that same divide, was met with that same portion of the Star Wars fandom crapping on it, because that's just going to happen forever, I guess. And here we have it. Now, there was an actual debate on Tuesday, and we had this debate, whether or not Vader was force choking Dedra, or whether she's just fixing her collar or having a panic attack or whatever it may be. And that's a great debate to have. We had that debate on Tuesday for hours. And that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about how people took that and said this is going to ruin the show. Because if Vader doesn't show up, then the show is ruined. Or if that is Dedra just having a panic attack and Lucasfilm was lying to us, trying to make us believe that it was Vader, then this is the end of the world. And it's not. Would it be a little weird if they did that? Then yes, but it's still going to be incredible whether or not Vader is in it or not. Vader being in Andor Season 2 is much just, it's like the cherry on top. You can have an ice cream sundae all you want. You can have your favorite ice cream with hot fudge or not hot fudge or whipped cream or whatever you want on your hot fudge sundae. But Vader will be the cherry on top. It's not much. It's just a little cherry. It tastes nothing like the rest of the hot fudge sundae. You're probably going to eat it by itself, and it's probably a standalone thing. Probably only there for a second. The rest of the sundae, this massive sundae, is Andor Season 2. But that cherry, that tiny little cherry on top, that's Darth Vader. So even if he is in Season 2, it won't be like this massive thing to the story. It'll be something quick. It'll be something that's not that important. But it's important because it's Darth Vader. So it's really not the end of the world if Vader's in the show or not. But fans have taken this already to just blow up. And Andor Season 2, being only 26 days away, hopefully is going to be met with critically acclaimed, like the first season was. But it's how the fans react. How the fans react. So, with that being said, let's watch the trailer because it's still only a couple days since this trailer aired. Let's watch it all the way through, and then let's talk about the two big, crazy things that are being talked about all day long when it comes to this trailer. Now, before we actually even watch it, take a look at these view numbers. So, first of all, the original trailer that's over here on the right has 6.8 million views. That was a month ago, over a month ago. That's a lot of views. The one that was released 3 days ago almost has 3 million views, which is insane. And then you have the two teasers, or actually this is a recap, but the other one, this is a behind the scenes look, has a 500,000 views. This was #1 trending for like the first 2 days. It's not anymore. But it was #1 trending on YouTube for the first like 48 hours, which is absolutely insane. Having said that, let's watch it all the way through.
I came with you to be part of something. The Empire cannot win. It's a different kind of mission. If it goes up in flames, it will burn very brightly.
But if I'm giving up everything, I want to win. We have to. We must stand together. We will be crushed.
Resistance is absurd.
It's a weapon. They're building a weapon. The monster will come for us all.
Revolution is not for the saying. You're right here, and you're ready to fight.
There's a future here for those who dare. Welcome to the rebellion.
Okay, so there's a couple things that we didn't really talk about on Tuesday's live stream about this trailer, but before we actually do that, let me put up a new poll in the chat because we've switched gears over to Andor real quick. By the way, almost 80% of you guys thinking that Ewan McGregor will be in Ahsoka Season 2 is crazy, but are you excited for Andor Season 2? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. So, there's a few things in this trailer that we didn't really touch on on Tuesday's live stream. The first one being what Bix says here.
Very brightly.
But if I'm giving up everything, I want to win.
She's clearly talking to Cassian here, and she's saying, if I'm giving up everything, I want to win. So if she's going to join the rebellion and give up her entire life, she wants to win. And what she's giving up, that everything that they're talking about here, is all these people. Again, like I mentioned before, this will be the happy, smiling, fun scene before everything turns to shit.
Everything. I want to win.
Before the Empire shows up. Right here. So if she's going to give up everything, her happy farm life here, then she wants to win. She wants to join the rebellion and actually win. She's going to give her life for the rebellion, most likely, because Bix is a character that isn't in Rogue One and isn't in anything else, so it's likely that she's probably going to die as well. Yeah. I mean, tell me in the chat, do you think Bix is going to die in season 2? It would be very hard to keep her alive. That's just what I'm thinking. But this is her joining the rebellion.
I want to win.
With Cassian. So Cassian's going to somehow convince her, or maybe even try not to convince her, to join the rebellion. Yeah. Bix will die for sure. Okay. All right. You guys think that, okay, fine. He's going to die. Sure. Pretty sure she's rebelling after the torture. Well, that's true. She did have a tough go of it in the first season. That's for damn sure. Okay. Now the next thing.
We have to.
We must stand together. We will be crushed.
Resistance is absurd.
It's a weapon.
They're building a weapon.
The monster will come.
So, the weapon is, of course, the Death Star. But as we talked about before, Andor doesn't know about the weapon until Rogue One. He knows that there is a weapon being made, but he does not know it's of the planet-killing kind. Okay? So, first things first, there's this whole interrogation process.
Resistance.
Between Krennic and Dedra. Now, this might be very, very important because he might be telling her about the Death Star. Yeah. So we talked about this before, but is it possible that Dedra turns on the Empire and becomes a rebel? Much like we see Rampart in The Bad Batch or Callus in Star Wars Rebels. Is it possible that either her or even maybe Cyril, some people think that Cyril could as well, they fall to the light side? Rise to the light side? I don't know. They fall to the light side and become a rebel. Now, the reason I think that this is likely is because the rebels know about this battle station. They know about this weapon.
It's absurd.
It's a weapon.
So if Krennic is saying that the resistance is absurd, maybe he's telling her that the reason that she should stop even looking into the rebellion, should stop wasting her time with the rebellion, is because they have this super weapon. They have this massive planet-killing weapon. So they don't need to worry about any rebellion because they can just blow up the planet that they're on. So he might be telling her in this scene about the Death Star, and then Dedra eventually tells the rebellion about it.
It's absurd.
It's a weapon.
They're building a weapon.
Because somehow the rebellion finds out about it. They find out that the Death Star exists. Now, I think season 2 has the possibility here to do something really crazy, and that is use the Death Star as not only a scare tactic, but as a way for characters to die. Not in terms of like they get blown up by the Death Star, but if somebody knows about the Death Star, then we know that they can't live. So it would be absolutely insane to see multiple characters learn about this weapon and not have the time to tell everybody else. Imagine a character like Clea, as you can see here, she knows about it.
It's absurd.
It's a weapon.
She knows about it. She knows at least as a weapon, but maybe she knows about the Death Star completely. Oops, going the wrong way here. What if she knows about it, but she doesn't get the chance to tell anybody because she dies before that? So they can use the Death Star as a plot device, in a way, for characters' demise. Because she finds out about the Death Star, but doesn't make it back to the rebellion to tell them. Now, who she's talking to here, I have no idea. But somehow it has to be kept a secret. There's going to be a lot of death in the second season, that's for sure. I mean, season 1 had a lot of death as well. All the Aldani characters dead. Narkina 5 characters, all but Melshi, dead. Everybody's dead for the most part. And season 2 is going to have more of that. All the characters that aren't in Rogue One are likely to die. And the characters that aren't in Rogue One, that's everybody. Except for Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera, and Cassian. That's about it. So everybody's up in the air. Yeah.
They're building a weapon.
The monster will come for us all.
So now we get to the Palpatine invader of it all. The monster will come for us all. Mon Mothma in this second season will be calling out Palpatine directly for the Gorman massacre because she blames it all on him, which is very important because she's going to be run out of Coruscant. She's going to be run out of town. Get out of town. Okay, but will Palpatine actually show up in this scene? Will she actually have to run physically from Palpatine? That's still the question. I thought for sure in season 1 when we were watching it live that we would see Palpatine because there's so many mentions of Palpatine in the first season that I thought at some point, because there's so many scenes in the Senate building and so many scenes on Coruscant, Palpatine's bound to show up at some point, but he never did. Now, season 2, to me, seems like we are going to see Palpatine. But tell me in the chat, will we see Palpatine in season 2 of Andor? And while you do, can we get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bum-ba! He won't be in this scene, but Palpatine will definitely be in it. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Mon Mothma says, the monster will come for us all, and she lets out a little scary poop. What? Okay. Yes, he will be in it. No. No one truly dies. That's also true. Mike, you're always smiling when you talk about death. You know what? Okay. Guys are horrible. No. Yes, him and Vader are around and part of the plot. Interesting. So you think they will be involved heavily in the plot of the show? Fascinating. Maybe a holo meeting or something? Okay. Vader and the Emperor in the same room would be terrifying. True. I mean, think about that. We don't often get those two characters in the same room at the same time. And I don't think they would be. I feel like Vader stays away from Coruscant quite a bit, I think. Maybe maybe a little bit of bad memories from his time there. Just a few. Yeah. Will Krennic die in the massacre? No, we know when Krennic dies. Krennic dies to the Death Star right alongside Cassian and Jyn Erso on Scarif. Yeah. You guys are crazy. Yeah. Mike is obsessed with characters' death. He thinks everyone's going to die. Okay. Let me back myself up a little bit here. What is the coolest thing that could happen to a character? No. What's the coolest thing that can happen to a character? Heroic death. Yeah, that's right. Why do you love the clones so much? What made you love Fives? Was it his life that he lived? No, it was his death. Why'd you like Clone 99? Because his death. Why'd you like Tech so much? Because he died. And it's the way that they die. It's not the death themselves. It's not that we like to see characters die. It's the reason that these characters become so iconic is the way they die. Obi-Wan Kenobi does it in the first Star Wars film. He dies sacrificing his life to become something greater, to become a Force ghost, sacrificing his life to help the heroes escape. He kickstarts it all off with his death being epic, leading to more epic deaths. So yeah, do I like to predict characters' deaths? Maybe. Maybe. But when it comes to Andor Season 2, we know for a fact that a lot of these deaths will happen. Darth Vader, what's up? And the problem becomes, well, first of all, Darth Vader, are you in Andor Season 2? Some clarification on that would be great. And when it comes to Andor Season 2, all these characters are not in Rogue One. So predicting their deaths, which would be the coolest part of their entire story, would be incredible. Marva. Why is Marva so great? She dies. Now, that doesn't make her great, but her afterlife message in the holocron makes it great. Yeah. Nemec, great character, dead. Skeen, all right character, dead. So do I like to predict deaths? Maybe. But they are all fictional characters. I'm not here sitting here going, predicting people's deaths in real life. That'd be horrible. Yeah. So with that being said, a character by the name of Luthen is going to die in season 2 as well. So how do we think that Luthen is going to die? Tarkin dies, but he will be in this show. Well, Tarkin's dead later. Tarkin dies with the first Death Star exploding. So Tarkin could technically be in Andor Season 2. Do I think Tarkin will be in Season 2? I don't know. If you're going to have Vader and you're going to have Palpatine, I feel like bringing Tarkin in there is a lot. But at the same time, Tarkin is sort of heavily involved with the Gorman Massacre, at least from what we know. Yeah. Mike would, we should put Mike in a movie just to kill him off. Well, interesting. So if you guys were here for the end of Tuesday's live stream, then you saw this. You saw that I'm working on something pretty crazy. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Yeah, this. This is me as an Imperial officer from A New Hope. I'm actually talking to Darth Vader right here. So this is the next What If I'm working on right now. And I put myself in it because I'm just like that, I guess. But no, should I kill myself off? Is that what you guys are saying? Should I be like, Lord Vader? Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Fine. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. You know, actually, funnily enough, in this What If, I am the reason for the demise of 2 iconic Star Wars characters. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. Pretty wild. Rick the door technician? No. That's Mike the Imperial Overlord. I'm going to rise to the rank of Emperor someday. Yeah. Okay, but let's get to the next part. So, the monster will come for us all. Palpatine possibly being in Andor Season 2. You look like a teenager in that. Brandon, you are not the first person to say that. That's literally a picture of me from, like, last week. Like, that's not an old picture of me. I just don't have my glasses on, so maybe it makes me look younger. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, 50 Thunder, it might just be. It might just be. Yeah. Mike, your character should Forrest Gump it through all your what if stories. Mike, that's sort of the idea. Yeah, we came up with this idea in the Discord. If you are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. But yeah, I think for all the what ifs moving forward, because we got a whole brand new way of making what ifs, I'm going to be in them. And I'm going to kind of be the catalyst for the what ifs. Because a what if is pretty much just a change in the story of Star Wars. So something has to change. Well, that change is going to be me. I'm going to be like, yeah, you know this? That's happening over there. You should probably go check that out. And they're like, oh, what? Really? And then, yeah, it changes the whole thing. Yeah. It'd be so crazy. Even just to be like an extra in Star Wars would be like dream come true. It'd be so cool. Would Mike be the tallest human character to be killed off in Star Wars? Probably not. I mean, there's a lot of tall people in the world. Okay, but getting back to this.
Revolution.
Is she being force choked by Vader? Yes or no? Is Dedra being force choked by Darth freaking Vader? Yes or no? What do we think? Yes, yep, no. No, yes, no. My vote remains no. Fuck, yes, end of discussion. Okay. Yes, no. Yes. Look at the fear in her face. What else would prompt her for that fear? That is true. She looks very scared. Yes, no. I mean, we pulled this up on Tuesday's stream, and it was 50-50. It was actually 51-49, I think, in favor of yes. We had over 100 votes on that poll. And it was 50-50. Could be Sheev. Okay, well, that's another point. It could be Palpatine. But I think that's far less likely. Is Palpatine force choking her? That would be crazy. Yeah. She is scared because she learned about the Death Star and its capabilities. Interesting. Since we sort of brought that up today, that she might learn about the capabilities and the existence of the Death Star, then it's very possible that this could be what's going down here. Hang on, we got a super chat. 50 Thunder with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, what if Han Solo was selected to walk the plank before Luke Skywalker at the Sarlacc pit? Huh. Never thought of that. That's pretty good. I don't think he would die. I think Luke would probably get around it somehow. That's pretty good. I appreciate the super chat. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. Oh, yeah, and gifted memberships. I almost always forget about the gifted memberships until somebody does it. But yeah, we've had some gifted memberships over the last couple live streams, and I appreciate it quite a bit. But having said that, gifted memberships are fantastic. And we have, oh, hang on. Whoa, I forgot to celebrate a little bit. Not only did we hit 130,000 subscribers last live stream, but we've also hit 100 members. Over 100 now, but 100 members on the channel. So the giveaway, which happens this week or next week, it happens at the end of every week. It will be over 100 people in that giveaway, which is absolutely insane. So I appreciate it. But is she being force choked? Yes or no? It's misdirection. Okay, Jody. Misdirection. Why? Why? I get the panic attack thing, but why would she be having a panic attack? I think, yes, it feels unlikely for season 1, but season 2 will lead into Rogue One. So Vader was in Rogue One. I agree. I think saying that Vader won't be in it because he wasn't in season 1, and season 1 didn't have all these crazy cameos either, I don't think that's really good. I feel like it will be the bridge in between this and Rogue One. So I think more, I guess, cameos, so to speak, wouldn't be too crazy. PTSD from what? Why a panic attack? Because she works for the evil empire. It tends to be a little bit stressful. True, but she never shows signs of this in the first season. You know? Yeah, no? I have to say, I'm just excited. Oh, I'm really excited too, Christoph. But why would Vader show up? Well, Krennic is also there. And where there's Krennic doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be Vader as well, but it gives more, I guess, to that, you know? The atrocities are going to get worse from season 1. Okay, so that's true. If she is in fact in charge of, or the reason that the Gorman massacre happens, then maybe that's kind of stressful. She does kill thousands of innocent people, at least hundreds of innocent people. Yeah. Maybe she witnessed Cyril get offed in front of her. He discovered the Death Star. He discovered the Death Star and told her, and now it tells her, and now she turns. That would be crazy. If she's freaking out because she watched Cyril die in front of him, in front of her, sorry, that would be insane. That'd be wild. I like that theory a lot, actually. Yeah. Jordan says, Dedra became an informant for the rebellion, goes to tell them about the Death Star, and Vader stops her for good. That would be crazy. We also have to take that into effect, too. Dedra is not in Rogue One. Krennic is. Vader is. Tarkin is. Dedra is not. Neither is Cyril, for that matter. So those two characters' lives are up in the air. It's possible that Dedra does die. And what a way to go out. Is there any better way than Vader killing you? Because here's the deal. Vader force chokes a couple Imperial officers to death throughout the course of the original trilogy. People who can't really do the job. He force chokes them to death. We don't really know those people very well. Dedra, we know. We spent a whole first season alongside Dedra. She became a fan favorite character as a villain. That's hard to do. Very hard to do. But they did that. What if we get the first person perspective, or I guess a perspective from Dedra, from the inside, a person that we know and love, getting force choked to death by Vader? It would mean so much. It would actually make the characters who die in the original trilogy to Vader's force choke even more meaningful. Yeah. Hi, Hodge, what's up? Yeah. Lobo says, well, it would be cool if we got a lot of characters and, they end up in prison on the Death Star only to blow up in A New Hope. That would be pretty wild. That would make them feel a lot, it'd feel a lot weirder, I guess. Well, Tony Gilroy has said that Rogue One is going to feel like a completely different movie once you see Andor Season 2. And a lot of that probably has to do with the relationship between Cassian and K2SO. But more of it could have to do with Saw Gerrera, who we see in Rogue One, and how the rebellion gets to the point where it is in Rogue One. I don't know. It's going to be pretty damn cool. I do say so myself. We got another super chat. You guys are feeling extra generous today. Oh, what is up, Star Wars Jedi Podcast? Ron, Nick, what is up? With a very generous $10 holla. Says, do you think that she's being choked by Vader? I do. I mean, if she's not, am I going to be extremely disappointed? No, probably not. If she's really just stressing out or freaking out because she just learned about the Death Star, or because she just accidentally or purposefully killed hundreds or thousands of innocent people, I could get behind that. But I so badly want it to be Vader force choking her, like so badly, because it, of course, brings Vader into the show, which is awesome. The more Vader, the better. And it'd be great. You know? Like, she's just choking on her aspirations. Crazy. So, to answer your question, Ron, I hope so. I really do. Yeah. Maybe she's being choked by a Jedi? I don't think so. And force choking is Vader's signature move. That's true. So, that's the biggest thing, too. Lucasfilm knew what they were doing when they put this in the trailer. They knew that fans would lose their minds about this 1 second scene, because it is really just 1 second. Look at this.
Revolution is not for the...
That's it. They knew that fans would see this, know that Vader's thing is force choking, and they would immediately think that this is Vader force choking Dedra. And they understand that. They knew that this would be the talk of the town for the next week and a half, at least. Or at least the next 26 days leading up to Andor Season 2. They're not dumb. So the question then becomes, if it's not Vader, then why do this? Why pull us along thinking that it's Vader for a long time if Vader's not even going to be in Season 2? And when I say Vader being in Season 2, I don't really mean that he's going to be in the entire season. Probably going to be the last arc, if not maybe even one appearance in a middle arc and then not show up again. Yeah. The AI voice made the seems like a what? What you talking about? So, I do think it's Vader force choking Dedra for all those reasons. But maybe it's not. She'll be shell-shocked? Well, I'm sure she will. She gets force choked by Vader. Yeah. I just hope that the Vader's AI voice has been fixed if he appears. The pause is a bit too long in Kenobi. What do you mean? What pause? Oh, the pauses were a bit too long in Kenobi. Oh, I disagree. Vader in Kenobi is so good. Vader in, it was one of the video games. I forget which one. Maybe it was Outlaws or something. In one of them, he doesn't sound better, you know? 50 Thunder with a very generous $5 haul. I appreciate that. Says, Mike, now that your voice is better, thank you. Oh, you're going to make me do a hard impression? Oh, fantastic. Do an impression of the singing Yizum from Return of the Jedi? What? You know it's a tough impression when I don't even know who it is. Hang on. Yizum? What was his name? Yizum. Yizum, Return of the Jedi. Let's see. Let's see if Google even knows what this is. Oh my God, it's this guy. Okay. Hang on. The Max Rebo Band, ladies and gentlemen. All right, but let me find this spot. Nope, that's not it. When does this happen? Oh, here it is. You're talking about that guy? Is this guy you're talking about? 50 Thunder, this guy right here? Is this the one? This guy right here, this handsome fella. Is this Yizum? Should we look it up? Is it this guy? Yeah, that guy. Okay. He doesn't speak English, does he? Fantastic.
No.
Because I've done this lady before, right? We've done that already. You're talking about the other guy before that. Yeah. Okay. What is he saying? Who did they? Who did that? No. Who did that? I don't even know. And Han's just in the background, just dancing along. Okay, with that, I think we're gonna have to get on out of here. That was something, in a word. So let's end this poll. Wow. 96% of you guys. Whoops. Yeah. 96% of you guys said, yes, you are excited for Andor Season 2. That's fantastic to see when we are only 26 days away. Ahsoka Season 2 has started filming, at least from the reports. And it might be the most insane season of television we've ever seen. With Abeloth, with Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Ariana Greenblatt coming back to play iconic characters in Star Wars, and an Andor Season 2 trailer that's made the fans run wild. What a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Indeed it is. Huge shoutouts to Jordan Rennie, also Jordan Rennie and Jordan Rennie. Again, Jordan Rennie for the biggest super chat in channel history, but also shoutouts to Darth Plagueis Lives, Jessica for the very generous super chats and memberships, 50 Thunderer, Ron, and 50 Thunderer again. I appreciate you guys so much more than you will ever know. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. Show them the recommended feed of yours. Watch out for a short later today. Watch out for maybe a video tomorrow. If not, then a live stream on Saturday as per usual. Is Saturday's live stream the last live stream of the month? It might just be. So we might be getting a... He sings? Hang on, 50 Thunder says he sings. Oh my god, it's Droopy McCool! That's Droopy! Droopy. This is Droopy McCool, chat, the greatest character in all of Star Wars. That's him. And then this is Max Rebo, the second greatest character. This band is full of legends. This is like the best super group of all time. All right. But with that, I do have to get on out of here, so I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll go from there. Watch it for a live stream. I mean, a live stream, a short in a little bit. All right. May the force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you will ever know. Yeah. I mean, Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be the greatest thing that's ever happened. And everybody's going to die in Andor Season 2, obviously. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.